Salem Aerial. For aerial photos, videos, mapping, and inspections, visit SalemAerial.com. You are bearing witness with Salem News Journal. With our current state of the world today, people are fed up. Fed up with our government officials, both elected and unelected, that are doing everything they can to destroy this country. Fed up with corporations that lie to us, steal from us, and censor us. Fed up with so-called journalists that do those things as well. Many of us, however, are lost in frustration because we don't know what to do. This man and the people working with him have a plan, and they are working it. I don't know if any of what he is trying is possible to pull off, but he's doing something. Listen to what he has to say, then you decide. So let's meet him.
My name is Ron Vrooman. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly.
Okay, Ron, and I think today we'll just let you kind of take over and just present your case to the folks.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay.
Several years ago, we assembled, and that's under the First Amendment. And then we notified the DOJ and the U.S. Marshals and the FBI and Kate Brown and her whole gang in Salem. And they knew that we had assembled, and we named ourselves.
When you say assembled, elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, the
You'd
First
assembled
Amendment.
this court?
No, the First Amendment says freedom of speech, and the government will not form a religion for the government.
Yep.
And the people have a right to assemble.
Yep. Okay.
We assembled.
Okay, I understand now.
And then after we did that, under the Oregon Constitution, which is our Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 says that all power is inherent in the people. If Richard would hear, he would tell you word for word, because he memorized. He says to me stuff like, Ron, did you read it? I said, yeah. He says, well, then why didn't you remember it? And he remembers that stuff. So he could spout to you Article 1, Section 1.
Are we speaking of Richard Koenig?
Yes, we are.
I know Richard Koenig.
Okay.
Yeah.
Richard's an outstanding guy. You know, he's a fugitive.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, we're working on that too. We filed in our court 2 cases for him.
Okay.
And so then we notified all the same people that we were Article 1, Section 1. And as we're a republic and not a democracy, we don't need a majority to do anything. So we did that, and nobody rebutted us. So we are. When you do something as living testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth and it is without rebuttal, that's law, that's fact, that is it. You can't do better than that. So we did that, and then we said, how do we get rid of this system that we got going that is so corrupt, such as Article 7 amended in the Oregon Constitution was placed in the Constitution in 1910 by a guy named Frank Benson, who was Secretary of State and Governor at the same time, which is a constitutional impossibility, but he did it. And what it did was it rewrote Article 7 original and put it into amended. And when they did that, all the judges and everybody agreed to go with Article 7 amended, which negates our Constitution. It puts us into a corporation. So we haven't had law on Oregon since 1910. We've had color of law. The judges, the legislature, all of the big shots in government, they all play pretend, and they deal with us in color of law. Well, on May 21st, 2019, the Action Committee from the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly went to Salem to see the government documents to prove statehood for Oregon and to see what they had in the way of proof for Article 7 amended, and they didn't have any. A deputy secretary of state by the name of Richard Weil was representing Oregon at the Oregon Archives, and he's a bar attorney, and we went in and had a meeting, and they had nothing. They were showing us Oregon's Constitution from 1857, the one they sent to Washington, D.C., not the one that was approved and came back. That's a constitution. That's half of a contract. Oregon made contract with the other several states and the United States, and that contract came back to Oregon, and they won't show it. So we said, well, if you're going to do that, we had already written up a document notifying all of the senators of the position that Oregon had placed themselves, because we thought that's what they do to us, and they did. So we all went over to the State House building, and 4 of us delivered that document to 29 senators. One died. I forget her name now. Female Republican senator, and won't come. Anyhow, we went to all of them, and all of their offices received our document. We have proof of receipt, so they knew. Then one of them we couldn't deliver because that person had died, so we took that over to the office of the Secretary of State, which is in the same building, and served that document to the Secretary of State's office. Then we went over to the Justice Building, which is just down the road a ways, and we served that one to the Attorney General, and we've got stamped received document from them. We don't say anything that we can't prove. We have supporting evidence on everything.
This document that you keep referring to, give us an overview of what it said.
Article 7 amended was placed into the Constitution without one vote being counted. You now know that. If you continue to do this job knowing that that happens, then you are operating in misprision of felony, which means you knew a felony happened and you did nothing about it, therefore you're as guilty. So
okay.
We served all 29 senators with that.
And this was when?
May 31st, 2019.
Okay.
I have the document right here. I brought it.
Okay.
Then 21 days later, serendipity. I love serendipity. 21 days later, I see that the truckers and the farmers decided to descend upon Salem with their tractors and their trucks to raise hell about the carbon tax. And so that was the 21st day of our document, which made our document valid that day.
Okay.
So we took it down and we had it recorded in the public recorder in Beaverton.
Okay.
And notified all of the senators that we did it, that they had defaulted, they were in their job without honor, and we notified them again of that. And just a few days later, and I'm not saying there's any connection, but a few days later, all the Republican senators abandoned Salem. So we said to ourselves, what can we do to push this system to make it function for us? If we the people have all the power, and if we do not like the form of government that we're given, it is up to us to change it. And we've notified them all. They all know it. The feds, the state, city, county, all the sheriffs, everybody knows it. We're coming for you. And so then we said, wow, we are actually still in martial law from 1861. Did you know that?
No, I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about this stuff, but I don't personally have a good grasp on it.
Okay. Lincoln, when he was president, he wrote Executive Order 100. He didn't have a legislature because all the South had left and he didn't have a quorum, so he didn't have a lawful legislature. But he told the northern senators and representatives to give me a Congress anyhow, so they gave him one in color of law, not lawful, pretend. He wrote Executive Order 100. Executive Order 100, he had a colonel named Lieber write him up, how do I run martial law for the country? And Lieber wrote it up and called it Lieber Code. And the Lieber Code went into effect. About this time, a guy named Mulligan and 3 other guys decided that they were going to free some prisoners from the Union's prison camp in Indiana. And so they went to do that, and the feds caught them. The Union soldiers caught them trying to free these Confederate soldiers from prison. And so the military said, we're going to hang you guys. And Indiana said, wait a minute, you're not going to hang any Indiana people under your martial law because you don't have martial law in Indiana. We're not involved in that fight. So it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says Ex parte Milligan, that's one of the guys, says that you cannot have martial law on a state, on the land, if there's a civilian court. So there wasn't any civilian court on Oregon. Every court on Oregon's bogus because of Article 7 amended.
Okay. That's
a judicial act. So every court on Oregon is bogus. Then the federal court downtown, the Marco Hatfield building, that's on Oregon. That's not federal land. It's bogus.
It's on Oregon land.
Yeah, it's on Oregon land. And the Constitution says if you want forts, ports, armories, or buildings, that you'll get permission from that state's legislature to buy land, and this is how you do it. And they didn't do it.
Okay.
Okay, so that court is bogus. Therefore, there is no court on Oregon that is bogus. So we said, well, hell, let's make our own court.
So you mean to say that all of the courts in Oregon are bogus?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I can prove it.
Okay.
They all took an oath, and you can go to the archives and pull the oaths and
Sure.
read them, and everyone took an oath to Article 7 amended. They're bogus. They're crooks. They're
Sure.
color law.
So that brings us back up here to 2020, where Governor Brown's issuing all of these executive orders and all of this stuff. So what's your approach to that?
Well, we formed a civilian court. We got
Okay.
the rules and regulations, and we did it. We know what it is. It's all written down. We did it. We got the seal and did all the stuff, and we notified everybody, all the same people, this is what we're doing. And they said nothing.
So they didn't object.
They acquiesced again. So we wrote docket number 0407-1776 and told them, an interesting number for a docket, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we told them, this is our civilian court. And we went down and mailed it according to the Universal Postal Union's treaty, which is a specific way to enter a document into the system. And it's the same as taking it down and giving it to the judge and have the clerk stamp it.
Okay.
By treaty. So we did that and notified them that this is what we're doing. And we brought charges against Kate Brown and a whole bunch of others.
Why don't you still list a few of the names on your indictment?
It's not an indictment yet.
Okay.
Okay. We demanded that Kate Brown, Suzanne Bonamici, Ron Wyden, and Jeff Merkley, among others, on other documents, there's several other people, Ellen and, all kinds of them.
Sure.
And we said, you folks need to appear or attend or send your counsel to our court. And they already had our bona fides.
Yeah.
They didn't object to any of our bona fides, so come to our court and give us your reasons why you are doing these things.
Respond to our charges.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're not charges yet, though.
Okay.
And if you don't come, then we're going to use this document as testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth that you acquiesce to, and we're going to use this document with our grand jury. Now, to get a grand jury, there's another thing you have to do. We got the court, so now we have to have a grand jury. So to get a grand jury, you have to have a jury pool. The jury pool has to be Oregonians.
Okay.
They can't be U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens are something entirely different.
Yep.
U.S. citizens are people that work for the U.S. government, like Department of Justice, FBI, Marine Corps, Air Force. They're all U.S. citizens.
So you're looking for Oregon citizens.
Oregonians.
Oregonians.
Okay, free men and women, not necessarily citizens. They are probably Oregon state nationals from when Oregon went from being a territory to becoming a nation state among all the other several nation states within the United States. And the United States is the name of the government service company for the United States of America, which is another entity made up by the Congress from the Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union that invented the United States. The creator is not subject to the created. So they flipped it. World War II really flipped it. They said that the United States is the governing body, and the city of Portland is a subdivision of the county of Multnomah, is a subdivision of the state of Oregon, is a subdivision of the United States, and that's true if you're talking color of law. That's what they're dealing with since 1861 for the United States and since 1910 for Oregon. We're dealing with government. Government is not incorporated. If you incorporate your government, you become subservient to whoever incorporated you. How can you be sovereign?
So, where are we today with your actions against Oregon's government officials? Sounds like you're trying to gather a jury pool.
Oh, we are.
Okay.
Every time that we can go someplace where there's going to be a large gathering of free men and women, we try to be there. If it's within 100 miles of Beaverton or Portland or that area, we
and
go.
sign people up.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got a particular number. I know you told me the other day.
45.
Okay. And I'm not going to ask you where you're at in that number. You explained to me why you don't want to mislead people with that. But when you get that number, what's the next step?
Well, you call the jury pool together, and if you call 45 people together, how many are going to show up?
Okay.
You know, but let's say that...
what's the minimum number of people you need to convene are we calling this a grand jury?
Yep.
What's the minimum number of people you need in your civilian court to convene a grand jury?
The smallest number I've heard of is 19.
Okay.
25 is a standard number.
Okay.
For a grand jury.
So you're looking for 45 so you can be assured that at any given day you can assemble 25 of those grand jurors.
Exactly.
Okay.
You've seen flash mobs?
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
look at this as a flash mob.
Okay.
We can press a button and 45 people pick up the phone and say yes.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving along. So you, at the point that you have your 45 jurors and you've got all of your procedures with them established, what's the next step in the process towards our government officials?
All of these documents that we've sent out, like to Bonamici and Kate Brown and Ellen and all of them. Yes, all of these people have been served, and they refuse to attend or appear or send counsel.
Okay.
Not all of them. Bonamici sent a letter. The U.S. Postal Service sent a letter. So they responded. They're not in total disregard, but they didn't get the job done.
Okay.
So we take all those documents. They've all been acquiesced to and defaulted. So I go down, or Bill or somebody goes down with all of these documents to the grand jury, and you read it. And you say blah, blah, blah,
You present
blah, blah.
it to the grand jury.
Yes, and here is evidence that these people are guilty because they admitted to it. We would like to have a true bill to take this to a court.
And that would be where the indictment would happen, correct?
No.
Okay.
We give a true bill to an Amendment 7 court.
Okay.
Common law court of record. Now we've gotten to a courtroom, a jury. There is no judge in a jury trial of peers.
Okay.
The judge can't even be in the same room with them. And if you read Amendment 7, it says, in any case of more than $20, judges get to decide cases less than $20. Juries decide cases over $20. So we take...
Well, at least we have as citizens, we have the right to request a jury.
No, we don't request. You don't request, we demand.
Okay.
Did you see those guys walking down the street in Virginia?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
I might cheer up, but here's 200 guys, full kitted. They're ready. All armed up, weapons, vests, helmets, and mufti. Everybody's dressed different. And they got a guy out in front, and he's wearing all black and carrying a rifle. And they're marching down the middle of the street in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
They're going to the courthouse. And when they get to the courthouse, the cops are there. And the cops say things like, what are you doing here? And where's your permit? And the guy says, turn up. The guy says, free men don't ask permission.
Okay. So let's get back to where you are in the process in Oregon and where you go next. And you said that right now you're collecting jury pool members.
Yep.
And then once you have established a pool of them and you establish a grand jury and they issue what did you call it?
A true bill.
A true bill. And now you've got it over to a county courthouse?
No courthouse involved. Now it goes to an Amendment 7 common law jury of peers.
Okay.
Remember the 45 people?
Yep.
We use 25 for the grand jury. We can still use part of that 25, but we got to now find 12 to 15, probably 15 to have at least 3
alternates.
Yep. And
Okay.
so you say, I need a jury now. And so 15.
Okay, so now we're at a point where this true bill has been moved over.
Yep.
And you've established you're done with the grand jury, and now you're establishing a jury for the court.
Yep. And the jury says, Ron, you're absolutely right. Kate Brown, Suzanne Bonamici, Ron Wyden, and Jeff Merkley are all without honor. They're oath breakers, and they cannot hold a position of trust.
Okay.
That's a fact, and they acquiesce to it, and we find them guilty. Bang.
Okay.
Now I have a verdict.
Okay.
Okay, so now what do you do with the verdict? You find somebody to enforce the verdict. Okay, on Oregon, it's all specified. You go to your sheriff and you say, Sheriff, I have a verdict from a lawful court. Will you enforce this verdict? Now there's 36 sheriffs, and I know by personal experience that all 36 of those sheriffs have their position in violation of their oath, and they're all in their office without honor and are not entitled to hold a position of trust because all of them have broken their oath. They all sell a concealed carry permit, which is in violation of the Second Amendment. They infringed on everybody's rights to sell a carry permit.
Okay.
That's a fact. That's over with.
So these sheriffs are illegitimate themselves. So where do you go from there with your verdict?
Well, let's say that we try all the sheriffs and all of them decline to do their lawful job. Okay? So then, boy, okay, let's go over to the Oregon State Police. And they're headed up by a lady named Terry Davey.
Who just took control?
Yep, she's the superintendent. She was just appointed by Kate Brown. Funny thing is, Terry Davey is the one that originally arrested Richard Koenig and put him into this whole fugitive thing. Okay, now do you think Terry Davey is going to do a verdict and enforce a verdict against the person that appointed her to her? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe, but I don't know.
Okay, so let's
But
assume
we'll
she
try it.
doesn't, and what happens then?
Well, then we can go over and see Rocky Cumlin. I think that's pronounced correct. He's the provost marshal for the Oregon National Guard.
Okay.
In the Oregon Constitution, it says there is a damn it, I hate it when the brain just quits. There's an organized and an unorganized militia. There's two militias on
Okay.
Oregon. I have heard and don't have factual evidence for this, but they say that 6 years ago, Kate Brown disbanded the organized state militia. She disbanded it.
Okay.
Okay, now I haven't checked into that, but I don't know where she got the power to disband a constitutionally required
Yeah,
organization.
let's remind the folks out there what the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution says about militias.
Well, we're entitled to and required to have a
Okay.
militia. And
A lot of people equate the Second Amendment only to the right to possess firearms,
oh, that, yeah,
but we're given that right to possess firearms for a purpose. And
Yeah.
the militia is the purpose.
no, that's only part of it.
That's part of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a militia to protect yourself, your family, and your property.
Yes.
Okay, so then we go over to Rocky and we say, Rocky, you're the provost marshal for the Oregon National Guard. Will you do your job? And Rocky's boss is a guy named General Michael, his name may come.
He's the commander of Oregon National Guard.
Yeah,
Okay.
also appointed by Kate Brown.
Yeah.
So then we say, hey, Mike, you're going to tell Rocky to do his job? Rocky's a major. And the general will say whatever he says. But let's say that they don't.
Okay.
Okay. So now we go downtown and say to the marshal, there's the marshal downtown. His name is Russell Berger.
Would that be the U.S. Marshal?
Yep.
Okay.
For Oregon, Russell Berger, former sheriff of Oregon. He's also a defendant in this group here,
Okay.
because he and Billy J.
Well, because he's a defendant, he's unlikely to be
Yeah,
serving your verdict.
Yes.
So then where do you go?
Okay, now we have heard that the organized militia was disbanded, right?
Okay.
We've heard that.
That's yet to be determined.
Okay, yes, but that still leaves the unorganized militia.
Okay.
Okay, and the Oregon unorganized militia, and I'll have to look it up, but I won't right now. I think it's 18 to 60 or 18 to 45, whatever it is, all men. Well, that's all people.
Yeah.
So
Mankind.
yes,
Okay.
so everybody between 18 and 60 that is
Are
an
eligible.
Oregonian
are eligible for the militia?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I'll take it to the unorganized militia. Now, I talked to a guy. I know the commander of the California militia, and I know his chief counsel. And so I met a guy in, where the hell was that we were? Silverton.
Okay.
At every place I go, I say, I'm looking for the unorganized militia. And I've been looking for 6 years for these guys. And they all turn out to be flakes and not the guy.
Yeah.
You know, they wear a 3%er t-shirt and show up at a gun rally, and then they disappear and won't do their job. But
Yeah.
I'm talking to these people strong. I don't do things in half measure.
So Ron, let me ask you this. Ultimately, do you believe that there will be any success in this? And if so, what will be that success?
Absolutely. We will return Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government, period.
And that is the ultimate goal right there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're going to do it lawfully, and we're going to do it as soon as we possibly can.
Okay.
So if anybody's seeing this and thinks they're an Oregonian, and they have two people that'll swear they're an Oregonian, and they can give me a document, provide the document, I'll give you one to fill out. When we get 45 people on Oregon for our jury pool, we will take the next step
And move forward.
and work close.
Okay. So if anybody's interested in joining your movement, contacting you about your movement, where can they go?
www.orsja, which stands for Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly.org.
Okay.
orsja.org. And that's brand new, but it's got links on it that'll take you to Facebook, which I don't do, and it'll take you to YouTube, which I do.
Okay.
And on YouTube, we're known as Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, and we've got several videos up on that.
Okay.
And we're doing the best we possibly can to lawfully do this, just like it says in Article 1, Section 1.
You guys are just using the Constitution of Oregon and the United States to...
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're doing it in your face, Department of Justice, in your face, FBI, Marshals, Kate Brown,
When
Ellen.
you say in your face, in other words, you're not hiding.
No.
You're not doing this in back rooms and smoke-filled alleys. And...
We go down, we used to. We would go down at least once a week to 1000 Southwest 3rd Street and meet with a deputy attorney for Oregon named Seth Urim. I like him. He's a personable person. I deal with him.
Okay.
And we would meet with him and raise hell with him and the marshals and provide them with paper. We file documents. We don't talk.
Yeah.
If somebody says okay, here, we went into the 7-Eleven the other day after Silverton. When was that? A week and a half ago?
About that, yeah.
And I go in without a mask, and the 7-Eleven guy says, you gotta have a mask on. Yeah, but I have a card that says, he says, I don't care about cards. If you want to be in here without a mask, you need a court order. Well, hell, I got a court. So I went out, got in the car, Bill and Ray and Tanya, and we went back to Portland. We called up everybody. We got the court together. We got online. We used Skype. We made the document up. We had the document printed. It's a card, and I think you've seen it.
I believe so, yeah.
I'll give you one. I'll sign it and seal it and stamp it and everything right here.
Okay.
And that card says that you have unalienable rights. And those unalienable rights do not include wearing a mask or getting a vaccination or any of the other stuff that they're trying to make us do. And you know it, and this card attests to the fact, and this card is a court order from our court, which is a lawful court, the only lawful court on Oregon. And I signed it as clerk for the court. We seal it. I got the seal right here. And we do our very best. Then you have a document, it's a court order that says, I don't wear no mask. Now, what if they refuse to accept it? Can't help you there.
Yeah, we all do need to remember that businesses are not government, and they're private property, and they can impose any restrictions they want.
No. If you choose to have a business and do business with the general public, then you have gone into a contract with the general public, and you will treat us all as Americans and Oregonians, regardless of race, creed, color, sex, or national origin. Is that correct?
And that would probably include whether you politically agree or disagree with Kate Brown.
Exactly. Doesn't make any difference. You don't have to wear a mask if you're in Oregon. If you're a U.S. citizen, I can't help you.
Okay. Well, just to wrap it up, what message would you like to send to the folks today?
Please contact me, ronvrooman38@gmail.com. I won't give you my phone number, but if you email me, I'll give it to you. Go to our website, go to our YouTube. I need you folks to line up. I think Sunday we're going to Sandy. That's what I heard. I haven't heard anything else, but Sunday we're going to go.
That would be, as far as the tentative plans that I've heard about for that event Sunday, it would be basically the downtown core area of Sandy, in amongst, there's several restaurants and stuff down there that are suffering.
Yes.
And that would be another thing. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about Sunday's event?
I don't make any decisions.
Sure.
I don't have any horsepower at all anywhere for anything. I only make decisions for me, but I got an email that said, Ron, this is what we're doing in Sandy. And it seems like the mayor of Sandy's in on it, and he wants this to happen.
That's my understanding as well, as the mayor and possibly some of the city council members and many of the core businesses are putting on this event.
Yes.
It's my understanding the event will rally at the Capitol in Salem Sunday morning, and then convoy over to Sandy, where the rest of the day's activities will take place.
I think we're going to go to Sandy. Bill, are we going to go to Sandy? I don't know anything about going anywhere else, but it could happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when we get to Sandy, we'll set up, and we will give our cards that are court orders, signed, sealed, delivered, and to anybody that wishes to use your unalienable rights and to not abide by Kate Brown's unlawful executive orders.
Okay.
And what it does is, if you walk into a guy's store, and to keep his business license and not get in trouble, he probably has to do certain things. And if you serve food or liquor, and chiropractors, doctors, dentists, they all have all of these rules they have to abide by that they agreed to with the state. So if you have a business and you say, I abide by what the state says, and I'm supposed to have all of my people that come in here wear a mask, and somebody comes in with a court order that says they don't have to wear a mask, well then what the hell am I going to do? I'm going to invite them in without a mask, and they can do business here, and I will have fulfilled my obligation to the state of Oregon's color of law agency, and I won't be in trouble with them. And anybody that's a customer that's wearing a mask and says, "What about them?" They've got a court order, and we have a lawful court.
Okay. To wrap it up, you've spoke many times about Oregon Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, and you told us about part of it, about how all of the powers belong with the people, but it says a couple of other things.
Yeah, you can change the form of government whenever you want.
It also says you can abolish the
Yes,
government.
and change it.
So Oregonians have the power to rearrange, reorganize,
Return to
return to a different form of government,
a
or we have
constitutional Republican form of government.
we have the authority to abolish the whole thing and start over.
No, you don't.
Okay, elaborate a little bit on that, because it does say the word abolish.
Yes, and we will abolish Kate Brown and her oligarchy in Salem because they are in color of law, they are without honor, and they have no business in a position of trust. They did that to themselves. But the Constitution also says we will have a constitutional Republican form of government. We will not have Social Democrat. We will not have Islam. We will not have communism.
National Socialism.
None of that.
Yeah.
Constitutional Republican form of government is guaranteed. We're
Okay.
going to have it.
Well, one last time, give your website, Ron.
www.orsja.org.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen-
really appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're bearing witness with Salem News Journal.
At Western Pacific Roofing, our residential team can provide all of your roofing needs. 503-588-7663.